holistic look at your house, right? Step back, pretend it's not your house, pretend you're driving up to it for the first time. And then you're going to see like, oh yeah, those aren't shrubs anymore, right? Maybe they need to go. And welcome to the Real Estate Show. This is Grace Warren from Howard Hanna Rand Realty. This is Christine Coney with Keller Williams, licensed in New York and New Jersey.
And Mike Van Mansart hiding off camera. I went cross country.
We just need to get a wide angle camera
right,
and put it up there or something, so everybody can be on camera.
By the way, good morning and happy Earth Day.
Yes, it's beautiful outside. Little chilly, right now.
Glad I didn't take the, what is that thing off your hose? Like
the frost
bib.
The frost bib. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't take it off yet.
Yeah, I think tonight we may have a frost. Like
Snow? Okay.
no snow.
No snow. But actually through Friday, I think Thursday night it's supposed to frost again. So we have lots of opportunities for frost coming up this week.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of things covered this week in our greenhouse.
I know we were talking about like our pear tree and,
yeah, our peach tree has blossoms on it now.
Yeah, stuff that's really outside the realm of what we can really protect. It's just gonna. I said to Mike, it's just gonna be what it is. We gotta.
It is, but I feel I'm hoping that all the farmers around here that have like their apple blossoms right now and their peach blossoms, that none of that gets
absolutely,
because that can really ruin their year.
So I planted too early, is what you're saying?
Did you plant outside?
I did. Yeah.
What did you plant? Don't tell me tomatoes.
Tomatoes? The seeds.
Well, have they come through yet?
No.
Oh, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Because these
squirrels keep digging up my dirt, burying like their nuts in there. So.
Well, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like they will come right behind you, and they'll even take seeds out of the ground.
I might have to plant some more and see what happens.
I can't wait to dig in and hear all the things you planted.
It wasn't much. Was it
Did
tomato,
you
cucumber?
Do you have a fence around it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, my yard's fenced, so.
Okay.
He's in the village, so.
Yeah.
So, how was your week?
Week was good. Just a quick introduction for everyone before we dive into our stuff. But today our topic is going to be, it's spring, time to get outdoors, kind of projects around the home, things you can do to add value, things you can do to spruce things up, things you should do as a homeowner.
Yep.
So we're gonna talk about all things spring on this beautiful Earth Day.
It is absolutely gorgeous out there.
So how was your weekend?
My weekend was great. I went and showed a house on Saturday that I think is so funny because, well, there's multiple offers on it. But the funny thing to me about showing this house is I walk in, and this is not unusual, but many times there will be a basket there with booties and a sign that says, please remove your shoes or put the booties on. And I walked in and I looked around and I said, my client looked at me and I was like, yeah, I'm going to put the booties on because I don't want to get my shoes dirty.
Uh-oh.
It was pretty gross. I was like, what the heck is going on? Are they kidding? There's no way I'm taking my shoes off in here.
That's okay.
It was gross.
I feel like it must have been the weekend of the booty because I had a client who showed up. He got out of his car and he already had booties on his feet.
He must have been. Was he at a different house before with someone else? Maybe
I am unclear as to what was going on there. But in real estate, you just roll with it. Whatever's going on, right?
I know.
You just take it in. So I was taking that in as well today or this weekend.
Yeah, I was like, who? My mind was blown when I saw that. And I my client too, he's like, boy, your real estate photographers are really good. It didn't look like that in the listing. And I'm like, yep, that's what we pay them for be really good. Or else would you come, right? Who would come if the place was disgusting? I mean, some people might still come.
Yeah,
but,
you gotta look past it.
Yeah, you got to look past that stuff. But in our case, it was too much for him to look past. But not for everybody because there are multiple offers on it.
Yeah, there's just so few listings that.
Yep. It wasn't around here. And then I showed some homes out like Sparrow Bush area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, interesting too. Like, I don't think the person who was selling the one house really wants to sell it because we got in there and it was just like, it was bad. It was so bad. One of them was so bad. It just cracks me up. But anyway, there goes my my
Your
Facebook live feed,
Yeah.
which is now staring at the ceiling. So,
That's right.
how about you?
We'll fix
Did
that
you
up later.
see anything interesting this week?
Let me see. I'm trying to think. This week I had, I showed one of my own listings this week to someone who had called in, and I knew that they didn't really understand the location of the property because I had told them multiple times where it was located, and they kept, sending me. So it's in Putnam Valley, and they kept sending me directions to Valley Cottage, and I'm like, okay, but the house is in Putnam Valley. Okay, but how close is the train from Valley Cottage? And I said, well, the closest train to Putnam Valley is, right, so when we got there, I was not surprised to hear, I really love this house, but it's further away than I thought. So how did my weekend go? That was just an example of how my weekend went.
You said you just got to roll with it.
You just got to roll with it, right? We ended up making an appointment right there on the spot for another house that was closer to where he wanted to be. We saw it. He really liked it. So, we turned that appointment around.
Yeah.
But, I really did. I knew it. And then when I got there and he said that, I just like, oh, okay, well, let's talk about where you
Was it the
prefer to be.
first time you met him?
Yes, it was the first time I met him. So.
That's so funny. And, the funny thing is, too, so many people want to do texting. And
Yeah.
if you were on the phone with him, it might have been a little bit different. Like you might have been able to explain it to him. But the text definitely makes it a bit more difficult. But, it is what it is. And you know what? We should just give out the phone number quick, too, if anybody has any questions for any of us today. It's 845-651-1110.
Or you can text us if you don't want to talk to us in person. We won't take it that personally.
No, not
but
at all.
You can text us at 845-328-0886. And although we're talking about all things real estate and spring and home repair, home maintenance, feel free to call us or text us with any real estate question you may have. Because we love fielding all your questions.
We absolutely do.
That being said, I'm going to take a quick moment and just talk about as we're rolling into spring, and we're going to be rolling into all the great things about living here. Spring festivals and outdoor hiking and biking and boating and everything that makes living in the mountains great. I guess we don't all live in the mountains. I feel like we're mountainy here.
It's mountainy here. We're in the middle of mountains, right? We're in a valley.
Right. But, a lot of things going on now have to do with like organizations waking up and starting their fundraising part of their year.
Okay.
And there's an organization that I have been learning a lot about lately called the Committee for Families of War Veterans. They support war veteran families across really the whole area, the closest 5 counties. And more, but the whole, mission of this organization is to help struggling families. So if you, are a veteran, family of veteran, and you're having problems, right? They're here to support you and help you financially, or any other way they can. But really, they are there to kind of financially support something you need to get past whatever bump it is in your life right now.
Okay, so could be, paying an electric bill or
paying your rent for a month, or something about schooling, or something about
medical and stuff,
like
anything.
Whatever it is, you can apply to them, and they will vet your request and see if there's anything they can do.
Okay, that's very nice.
Yeah, they're a really great organization, and again, their name is the Committee for Families of War Veterans. That being said, they're having a really great fundraiser. On Thursday, May 23rd. It's being held in Goshen at Delancey's. And it's $60, 6 to 8:30. They're going to have, it comes with apps and wine and beer. And there's Dean Scala, who is a local guitarist. He's very good. So come on out for the night.
Oh, sounds like a fun thing.
This is Thursday, May 23rd. And you can buy tickets, which you need to do. And I'm going to give you, I tried to make there's a QR code, but I can't give a QR code over the radio. So I kind of used one of those website shortener apps. So if you go to rebrand.ly / FWV Spring Event 1. So that's FWV for Family of War Veterans. FWV Spring Event 1.
Okay.
All right.
But they can also text you.
Yeah, you can text me.
You can send them the QR code, right?
Yep, and I'm sure that you can Google Family for War Veterans, and it's going to be on their website as well.
That's very cool.
All right, so please come out and support. We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors.
There's a question.
See, it always works.
2 questions.
Well, thanks, Steve. That was
No, the one above it. It said something about pricing.
Holding steady. Also, zoom into.
well.
Why don't we pull that?
I was going to say, let me go to fast stats. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
HGMLS. I probably need to be. Oh, I am on the Wi-Fi here. I love it.
Google the number, see who it is.
That person calls all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but they
I
always
think the inventory is low and prices are.
I think the prices are steady
Yeah.
unless you're in a low price point. Then
Correct.
they still are rising, like because you're getting multiple offers still.
$3.99 is selling for $4.80. You know, like just crazy.
Let's go to InfoStats because we can be a little more specific. Orange County, they said.
Yeah.
All right, so Orange County. I have this set up for price ranges. These are weird price
Just
ranges.
do all.
I know, but I don't think that tells the whole story. And let me do it as a bar graph. Bar graph. That's sales. That's median sales price. Median sales price is up year over year by 11%.
Wow, that's big.
If we pull that down, if you want to then talk about go through the different price points, you'll see the differences. Because
Yeah,
it's
because-
down in the higher, right?
It is, but this higher isn't good. I want to edit these ranges, which I can't remember how to do. Here we go. Okay, so let's do under 300,000, right? Because that's pretty much the same.
Then 3 to 4. I'll take this back in.
We'll do 300 to 450 because I feel like that's a range. Then I'm going to do 450 to 6, and then over 6. Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig, hosting today with
Grace Warren from Howard Hanna Rand.
And Mike Van Mansart with Cross Country Mortgage.
All right. So while we were away over break, we had a question come in about Orange County home prices. Are they increasing, decreasing, or holding steady? And then also a question about inventory. And so we thought we would just take a quick minute to pull up
Before
some.
you dig the stats,
Yes.
what is your theory?
Right before.
What's your best guess? Right?
Well, inventory's low.
Yeah, inventory's low.
Days on market is it's. I want to say it's not decreasing. I think it's steady right now, but it's low. Like there's not a lot.
I think it's hard
of
to
time,
judge
and it
days on
depends-
market in New York because it takes us 2.5 weeks
To get to contract.
3 weeks to get actually
Yeah.
into contract.
Yes, you're right.
So that's hard to say, but I think the question really should be days to accepted offer. you
Yeah,
know?
but we don't
And
have a
I
way
know,
to have
but-
that stat.
but what is your feeling on that? Is it like 5 days, 10 days?
I'd say it's usually about a week and a half because
You
you're keeping the property on the market for about a week before you
Right.
look
Run
at
some open
offers.
houses, field all the,
And then it takes a few days to go over whatever offers you have. And so I would say about 1.5 to 2 weeks is
Okay.
probably what it is till you get to an accepted offer. And then, of course, after that, they do home inspections and it takes some time before you get to your contract. But as far as, whether the days on the market are increasing or decreasing, I think when it comes to a higher end home, maybe they're increasing a little bit, but everything else is holding steady, which is still very low.
So if I look at days on,
That's my guess.
yeah. If I look
Am I wrong?
if I look at days on market, kind of across Orange County, using the MLS One Key info stats, right? This is just one place that aggregates our data through our MLS. As we talked about, days on market is very hard to tell because, it includes inspection times, and some people do inspections longer or shorter, and it includes that, contract time, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So it's not the easiest, but let's just assume, with enough data, it all averages out. Our days on market are slightly higher. In 2002, we were looking at 31. In 2023, we're looking at 32. And in 2024, we are looking at 35 days on market on average across the board for all listings. So the answer is that I feel that's a holding steady number.
Yep.
But some other information, as we look, we want to talk about sales prices, right? Sales prices are climbing up, and I'm looking now at like year over year, not month over month, right? So year over year for the entire housing market, we're up this year 5%. From 2023. So that's like March 2022 to March 2023 versus March 2023 to March 2024, right? So we're up about 5%. But, this is one of those things where I would like to dig into the numbers a little bit, right? We have homes on this market under 300,000. And as crazy as this sounds, most of those homes are sort of distressed in some way. If you're under 300,000.
They're going to
They
be
need
cash.
some type of big renovation, like
Right.
whether it's septic or new
Right, or
something like that.
Kitchen, bathroom. So those prices actually have come down on those sorts of homes by about 2%. If we look at the heart of again inventory issues, 3 to 450, which is that affordable housing number. And by the way, that's right under our average sale price, right? Like that's slightly below our average sale price. Those numbers are holding steady at about the average. And there has been up about 1%, right? And then 450 to 650, that price point is down a little bit. And $650,000 or more, we're up 5% or 0.5%. So to me, this feels like a holding steady scenario, right?
Yeah, based on this, it doesn't take into account any properties that might be sold privately.
Correct.
Or anything that might be an office exclusive.
Right.
So there's certain things in there that, you won't, like someone just told me they've been working on a listing for 4 years and they just got a call and they sold it privately.
Right. Oh, great.
So that's happening too.
Yeah. So I hope that answered our listeners' inventory and pricing questions.
Yep.
Still sounds like a good time to buy. 4 or 5% increase. It's not terrible.
No, and really, when we really dug into the numbers, it really felt more like a holding steady, right? A little increase here, a little right.
Yeah.
I think
flat.
that's because where rates were, they started trickling down and then they reversed and they started going back up.
Yeah. Talk to us
quickly.
about the mortgages right now.
It's business is steady. We're not. I wouldn't say there's still tons of buyers out there. There's still tons of pre-approvals, but yeah, rates dipped and now they went into the mid 6s. Now they're dipping up over 7 because of some CPI data that came out. But yeah, I think, and the expectation that feds are going to reduce in June, I think, is getting pushed.
Do you think that's really going to happen? Because I've been hearing that may not happen.
Right. I think. Well, that's what he's saying. It's going to be pushed because we had that interest.
But I mean, even in June.
Yeah, maybe it gets pushed. What I think, people are focused so much on how many rate cuts. They could do more than one, or they could do just a larger rate cut in one setting. Instead of doing 3, they could do one big one or something. I think the fear of the Fed is they don't want to intertwine rate cuts with election stuff. So they're trying. It's got to be either going to be way before, I think, or like after. Is kind of what the experts are saying.
But if people are waiting for the rate cut, like you've said before,
is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
No,
if you can get a house now, get the house now. Because the whole inventory is really what the issue is, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at inventory numbers. That's
why the prices keep going up.
Right. New listings this year, our inventory on single family homes is down 13%. And for March last year, which is going to really indicate how things go for the full year, because this is the heart of our market, right?
Exactly,
March,
yes.
March numbers were down. Listings were in Orange County were down 25%.
That's a lot. Significant.
It's significant. And so as we move through the year, again, you know, if March and April are supposed to be our big listing months, and March was down 25%, our numbers as we go through the year for inventory are just going to get tighter and tighter. It's an indicator, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So, you know, that's, you know, in terms of our prices going to soften. If we don't have more homes on the market, prices are going to, you know, not soften.
Right. That's the key right now, is to get, you know, listings.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we throw it out there as we always do. If you're thinking of selling your house, or you're interested in knowing what the value might be in this tight inventory market, or maybe you have a rental property that you might want to cash in on.
It's a good time to do it.
It's a
You
great
decide
time
you
to
don't
do
want to
that.
be a landlord anymore.
Yep.
Take the money and run.
Give Grace and I a call. 845-551-1564. We'll come out together and give you the scoopage.
Yep. It's it can be. It might be very enlightening for you.
Yeah,
Right. And you see what your home really is worth.
for sure. So anyway, that's
So what were you going to talk about, the concessions or
Oh
something?
yeah, so you know, obviously you guys are aware. I'm sure you get questions all the time since that lawsuit, whatever NAR lawsuit, where now sellers are no longer obligated, not that they ever were, to pay the buyer's commission, right? So, the banks, I shouldn't say the banks, Fannie and Freddie, who you know purchased 99% of the loans in the country, as a sub-servicer, are essentially saying, hey, you know, there's concession limits. You know what a concession
Yes.
is. It's a seller paying for buyer's closing
6%.
costs. Yeah, whatever. It can be 6%, it can be 9%, depending on down payment, it can be 3%. So it varies, right?
Okay.
What they've come out and said is they're saying, hey, let's just say the cap is 3% for that particular program. We're not going to factor in the buyer's agent commission into that 3% concession, which is helpful because if the seller needs to contribute to that based on, you know, the changes that are taking place, we don't have to cap that, because a 2% buyer's commission could easily eat up that 3% grand total that is allowed, right? So they've come out and said, we're not going to calculate it in our figures, which is great, because then it allows you to basically build it in if needed.
so.
Without having to consider it as the concession.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. That's great.
I actually read an article this morning, and I'm going to have a hard time remembering where I thought it was in like real estate in depth. No, it was RIS Media.
Okay.
And they said that what they were saying is what you just said is true, but that it's not different from what it was before.
It's not.
It's exactly what it has always
But there was so
been.
much confusion because everyone's panicking. How do I get paid? How do I get paid? Right?
Right.
Well, it's always been built into this seller side of things. But now if the sellers say, I'm not paying the buyer, the buyer's agent, and I'm only going to pay this much, then we can build it into the price of the home essentially and get it done that way without accounting against them.
I got you.
Is the idea.
I mean, I don't know about you, Christine, but I feel like if you're taking a listing, I can't tell them what to do, but explain to a seller exactly how it will benefit them to pay the.
So in my mind, I can think of locally in the last few months 2 examples of homes where
I know one of them for sure. What you're thinking of.
where buyers chose not to, where sellers
Sellers
chose not to pay a commission. And it's neither here nor there. But when you have a conversation with a buyer that says, hey, listen, we've got 2 condos, you know, one's priced at X, one priced at Y, just so you know, home X is not offering out buyer's compensation. And as per our buyer's agreement, my fee is this. So we need to make sure we talk about how that is going to get paid. It's in their mind, it's not a calculation they're willing to make. So they're either choosing not to see that property, or they are, not putting offers in once they figure out how, that they have to come up with these extra funds. And to me, that data, as we have these start to pop up, as agents, and as brokers in this business, in this area, it's our job to make sure we are informing our sellers of what's going on in the industry. And so to have a few case studies that show the actual effect of what happens when you do or don't offer compensation, I think is going to be very informative. And I'm actually very grateful to these sellers for participating in this experiment. No, I mean, it's true.
I think we should
Right?
explore it after the break too, because I have some questions about this. What your opinion on this?
All right,
Okay.
let's, we'll be
do
back
that.
we'll be back in a few
We can do
minutes
this
after
stuff
we
next week.
after we hear from our
have to.
sponsors.
Take care. Oh, don't take you. Stay listening.
No, I want to
Don't
hear
wait.
it for 2 minutes. I just have some questions.
Yeah.
We've already done it.
Well, the house on South Street just closed.
Right, but they ended up offering compensation before it closed.
Which house?
It was on South Street.
South Street Extension. It was like on the left-hand side as you're heading
Past
towards
Larry's.
Brady.
Okay.
And then there's a condo right now in Homestead Village. One of the 2 bedrooms listed at $350.
Oh, okay.
Who's
It's still
the
sitting
agent?
there. It's still available, right?
It's still, yeah. As far as Friday last week, it was still available. I don't know what happened over the weekend, but
And it's
So-
listed like, I mean,
It's an
Banter
aggress-
just listed one for $319, had multiple offers on it.
correct. So the price to begin with, in my mind, is aggressive, but it's really aggressive if you have to add the buyer's compensation on top. Right?
What about the one that was $500,000?
And it's sold.
I know.
Are you serious?
And there's another one just like it coming on this week.
The 3-bedroom for $500,000.
A 2-car garage.
Jesus.
Yep.
People are crazy. Like,
Yep.
why do you want that?
Because they do. And they're willing to pay it. And so now it's market value for that home.
Yeah.
Right? And so yeah, I think there's another one coming on this week, I think. Maybe.
I'm smiling because it's so wacko.
I know.
I know. It used to be you can buy a house for as much as you can spend on a condo, or no. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's.
When we were on tour last week, Warwick tour, that was the part of the conversation. Someone said was, well, I should have bought like 8 of those.
Yeah,
If I only knew.
exactly.
And here's the reality, which
You
we tell
don't know.
people all the time. You do know that home prices always increase over time. If you look historically, they dip, but they come back, right? It's like real estate is a long-term investment. If you just invest in it, it's going
gonna
to
do
go up,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
If you need to keep it for a year or so. Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. This is Grace Warren from Howard Hanna Rand Realty.
And Christine Koenig with Keller Williams out of New York and New Jersey.
And Mike Mansart.
Mike, what company are you with?
Cross country.
Do you want to maybe tell people how to get in touch with you?
845-239-6565 or MikeVanMansart.com.
I like your website. Very nice. You can find me at listwithchrisk at .com, and that's Chris with a C.
Let's try to do it like this.
All
See
right.
if that works.
So anyway, right before break, we were kind of chit-chatting with some mortgage news with Mike. There was some news that came out about guidance regarding government-backed loans, and that
You're
I
so
guess
good at
you're-
recapping. I
Not
can't remember what
government
happened.
loans.
no, not government.
All
Well, I thought
loans.
all loans.
Yeah. It's
All
just
loans,
it just
sorry.
so happens that Fannie and Freddie purchased 99%, and they are in fact government entities,
Right.
but they technically were not at one point until the bailout came. Anyway, so yeah, we were talking about the buyer's commission. And everyone, I swear, when that lawsuit. It's not even finalized. That's what's so
It's not
confusing
finalized.
to me.
That is correct. Not finalized.
But when that came out, I got more questions about it than ever before. Everyone just all of a sudden became an expert in how you guys are paid overnight, and
Yes, that is, and the amount of misinformation out there is so crazy, and the way it's been reported is so wrong.
it is, yeah, and it's kind of like clickbait, right? Like
Yes,
that's
it's
what this
exactly what it
become.
is. It is exactly what it is.
And I agree with you guys in that it's a disservice to the sellers
And the buyers.
And the buyers,
to not
yeah.
offer up the compensation on the buy side, because you obviously are doing a service, right? So what if you're running around people for a month to find a house, getting them pre-approved, doing all this stuff, and then to come to a listing that's not going to offer compensation? How does that incentivize you to want to do your job and do it well, right? Like, it's crazy to me. And from the perspective of the seller, if their job is, or if they want to have all eyes on it, right, at all times, but an agent's not going to bring their buyer there if they're not getting compensated. You're
So-
really closing the window up.
So I want to just say a few things.
Okay.
Number one, moving forward, there will be a discussion between the buyer and the agent up front. I can't not, if I am hired as a buyer's agent, I can't not bring someone to a listing because there's not compensation, as my buyer's agency agreement, outlined in the past. Moving forward, we'll have a conversation with the buyer before we take them out even once. And in that buyer's agreement, it's going to outline like, hey, listen, here's the environment we're in. Sometimes the seller is going to offer compensation. Sometimes they are not. We need to talk about right now what is acceptable to you and not, about how you're going to pay for your buyer's agent, right? What in cases like this, do you want to see the house or do you not, right? So up front, we will already lay out with people how we're going to get paid, what they're willing or not willing to do, and then we only operate within the parameters that they have set for us.
And this is something that a lot of companies, I know Keller Williams has been doing this, Rand has been doing this. We've been doing that buyer agency agreement for a long time now.
Yeah.
It's just going to
change.
Yeah, it's just almost always been that the seller is going to pay the commission. But there's always been that section in there that says that, if they don't, that you're responsible to pay it. But we're going to be very, very specific about it now when we sit down with people. I mean, that's really the only way to do it.
What if your objection is, well, I'll just go to someone that won't make me sign this?
So the state is requiring everyone sign it. It's a state. It'll be a statewide change. The law is as it seems to be, and I say law, but the regulation as it seems to be moving forward states that you cannot show a house until you have a signed buyer's agreement, which is not the case right now.
I like that because that protects you guys.
Yes,
too,
and you can have a 1-day buyer's agreement.
Yeah.
You can have a 10-day buyer's agreement. You can have a 6-month. To me,
It could be for specific houses that you show.
yeah. I mean, to me, I like to meet with my people, right, and make sure we're comfortable before I use a buyer's agreement. In the past, meeting them and showing them a day of houses, that's sort of like what I do to get to know someone, right? And have them get to know me and make sure we're comfortable with each other. Moving forward, I won't be able to operate that way. I will have to have them sign a 1-day or a 1-week buyer's agreement, which I can use out as our testing zone, right? Mm-hmm. And then if everyone is on board and now we've worked with each other and they see my value, I can go to a longer one. I mean, that's just one thing I'm playing around with in terms of how I'm going to change my business to accommodate what's going on, because it's one of those things where you've worked with buyers where you really, it's not the right fit, right? And you don't want to necessarily be so involved with someone for the long haul, right? Also, if you're not going to be paid, you do not have to work with someone who does not want to pay you. You don't. That's your choice. Mm-hmm. If you find someone and you present the buyer's agreement and your value to someone and they say, yeah, that's great, I'm not interested in paying you, you're not required to work with them. You say, okay, great, thank you so much, good luck, and have a great day.
Yeah, I like it.
So,
and as far as the buyers, I just feel like, someone said to me, well, they're probably just going to go to these sellers on their own or through their, the listing agents. And it's like, yes, they may do that. And then they will not have representation, and that's going to be up to them to decide whether they need representation or not.
Correct.
But guess what?
Right.
It's going to be a whole bunch.
Right. If you're a listing agent, it'll be a different kind of conversation with your sellers.
Yes.
Because, currently you can work with a seller as a seller's agent, right? You don't, or with a buyer as a seller's agent. Just because a buyer comes to you directly doesn't mean you have to give up your agency with your seller. You just have to disclose, like, listen, I'm the seller's agent. I represent them. If you want to work through me, you can, but it's going to be as a seller's agent. My fiduciary responsibility is to that seller. Mm-hmm. So you want to, write up paperwork and have me submit it. Great, I'll do that. But I'm not representing you as the buyer's agent or in a dual agency situation, right? You can say that.
I think seller listing agents are going to have to do that.
Well, they can put themselves in a dual agency role, but the seller has to agree to that. And so,
right.
So does the buyer. And then, to me, you're representing no one. And what kind of value are you really bringing at that point in time?
100%.
So,
and I just think that everyone has to understand what's going on. And that's what the problem is from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be business as usual for any professional in this industry. It's just nothing's really going to change. The conversations may change, but it's still going to look, if I listed a house tomorrow, I wouldn't expect my realtor to not pay out a buyer's commission, but maybe it's because I'm in this business, you know, and I respect your time and understand, and, you know, but I just, it doesn't make sense to me why we wouldn't, you know. It's,
Well, and so, and the answer is that there are some people who never bought a house before and maybe do not understand the value that having your own representation has, right? And that's why it's incumbent upon us as agents who really understand what we do to talk through with our people before we go out why it's important to work with us and how we get paid and what the responsibilities are and how they feel about this sort of a scenario or that sort of a scenario, right? And clear that up front. The concern, and I started seeing it when inventory started crunching. My bigger concern is people who, in a competitive situation, want to work directly with the listing agent because they feel they have an inside track by doing so.
Right.
Right. And then it's on the listing agent to really explain where they sit in that transaction, right? And there are different variations or options for them. But you can have that conversation where you explain what you do without explaining to someone what they're losing, right? And I'm wondering how that conversation really goes. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I'm saying it needs to be spelled out. People need to be clear about what they're losing.
Right. And there's no requirement to explain that to someone other than saying, you lose your fiduciary in the transaction. And a lot of people don't understand what that means.
Right.
So
anyway.
All right. So that being said, we're going to
conversation.
Go back to, yes. Anyway, to wrap that up, we will really know more as we get to July and things start to move along, and we're supposed to be following these rules that may or may not have been fully hammered out. So, we'll come back. We'll circle back.
We'll come back to that.
But let's talk a little bit about outside spraying your home projects, right? Everybody wants to get outside now. Gardening is the topic du jour everywhere we go. But there are other things you can do outside.
You're a gardener. You love doing that.
I am. Our plants are dying to get out and into the ground, and they are so ready. I got beans already forming on my indoor plants.
Oh, wow. When did you plant them?
Apparently too early this year.
Well, you know what it is? I think because Easter was so early, we all sort of got like, oh, it's spring. It's time to do this. It's time to do that. Yesterday was cold.
And it's going to be freezing. I mean, our frost date, no matter how mild,
May, right?
Yeah, no matter how mild our winters are, our frost date is generally Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So, you can hope to get things out early, but we always have that late snap, a couple cold days, and you don't want to kill off all your things. So you got to hold off.
But anyway, you're nervous.
Your stuff hasn't.
If it hasn't come out yet, you're going to be okay.
Yeah,
unless the chipmunks get it.
They might.
So what else do we have on our list here?
So one of the first things this is outdoor updates that add serious value to your home. So re-landscaping. Just really going out there and changing things up, fixing it up, because after the winter, your sidewalks, sometimes the blocks come up, just fixing things, what's it called when you edging.
Yeah. I will say also, in this I'll chime in and say, last year we took down 8, I'm going to call them bushes, that were turning into trees that were like just taking over our whole house. Sometimes things that looked really great 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, when they were like 36 inches high.
Correct.
Now that they're
72.
mature.
Right. And sometimes you can't even cut them back. It doesn't even make sense. So, take a holistic look at your house, right? Step back, pretend it's not your house, pretend you're driving up to it for the first time. And then you're going to see like, oh yeah, those aren't shrubs anymore, right? Maybe they need to go.
Yeah. What I do this all through my house, is I actually go and take a photograph of things, because I feel like when I look at it through a photograph,
right, you see things
see things that you don't see every day when you're walking through your house or through your yard or whatever. You just don't see it the same way. So I always like to take a photograph. It's a good tip. I think that you can really just define what's going on better when you're doing it that way.
I think that I'm going to start sending pictures of my son's room to him so he can see what's happening there in the
That's
picture.
an excellent idea.
Because he doesn't see it in person.
No, and he's probably okay with it anyway.
He is. It's very disturbing.
You just walk through the pile, right?
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He adds to it. I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening in here.
And does he know how to actually clean it?
Oh, he has no interest.
No interest.
No
Okay,
interest
so,
whatsoever.
the next thing is investing in a good lawn. So, this to me, I'm a little like, I know that the lawn should look good, but I'm also like really afraid of pesticides. So what do
Yes.
you think about that?
I'm in the same boat as you are. Mike and I, we disagree about this, and it's a
He
conversation.
wants it to be a perfectly green lawn,
So
right?
where he grew up, his dad has the most stunning, luxurious lawn I have ever.
Looks like a green carpet, right?
It does. I mean, I've laid down in it. It's like soft. God, it feels really nice. Right, but we drink out of well water here, and my argument is, I don't need to lie down in my front yard, and I can't remember the last time you did either. But I do drink this water, and I don't want pesticides.
And the other thing is like clover that grows in your lawn. I mean, that is that's the bees pollinate that,
Right.
and we need the bees. So I kind of like leave the clover alone.
I know.
Okay, we'll get back to this. We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and we'll continue with this.
Yeah, Mike and I all the time we talk about this.
Of the lawn.
Yes, it's.
I want the lawn to look green and beautiful too, but I can't put a pesticide, or not even a pesticide, an herbicide on there. That's going to get in the water.
Yeah, I know.
There's runoff everywhere.
I know, and I feel like I have I'm not going to say Mike doesn't do it, and that I'm not. I don't want to say on board, but I haven't just like said okay, fine, once in a while, because I gotta keep peace in the house too. So
And you're in a neighborhood.
but it doesn't matter. I'm still drinking well water.
I know.
Correct. And Mike will say, you don't think that lawn right there, 5 feet from us? I'll be like, no reason to double the amount, right? Like, there's always an argument to be had there.
I purchased, I don't know, I don't want to say it's pesticide, it's lawn food, and then something else, and I haven't put it down yet because the dog, I don't want the dog walking on it or eating something, eating a blade of grass or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. We have chickens, right? And our chickens, sometimes they free range, and I don't want them.
So I'm wondering if I just wasted $50 on these 2 bags.
Depends on what's in the fertilizer.
These guys go away enough. I would lay it down right
next
before you
time
go
I
away.
mow is gonna be when I throw it down, and then I'll just keep her inside for a day or two or something.
Yeah, I mean, and they have pet friendly kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
You just got to look for it and then spend 3 times as much.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually got pesticide. I think it's
Fertilizer?
I think it's more lawn food, and maybe there's some crabgrass killer in there or something. I'll look.
How is it so discerning that it can only kill crabgrass? That's what I want to know. Right? Why does it just kill that?
Kill the roots.
Welcome back to the Real Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig with Keller Williams, first in New York, licensed in New York and New Jersey.
And I am Grace Warren from Howard Hanna Rand Realty.
And Mike Van Mansart with Cross Country Mortgage.
So updates that add serious value to your home. So we talked about the lawn, making your lawn look great, and re-landscaping. So, maybe edging and planting new shrubs and that kind of stuff. And then the next thing is outdoor lighting, which is something that I'm going to be working on now too, because I redid my deck. Right? So I'm putting
Is
some
it
lighting.
done? It's official? Cool.
It's officially done, and we're going to probably put some post lights, like low voltage lighting, in the posts, and because I think it looks nice, and maybe some on the steps too.
So it's very funny. I grew up in New Jersey and then moved up here. I don't know, almost 20 years ago now. That being said, homeowners in the part of New Jersey I come from take the outside of their house as serious as the inside of their
I
house.
lived in Bergen County up until 8th grade.
The amount of landscaping and the flower choices that go in, and the lighting, right? The lighting
That's
is
when I was there, the
crazy
lighting
there,
wasn't
right?
so
They
much.
light their houses, they light trees, they light their driveway, they light their walkway. There's so much light on the outside of these homes at night that it's like lit up like a mansion, even if it's a tiny little house. But I will say this, when you drive through a neighborhood of lit homes,
It looks nice.
It feels fancy.
It does.
We don't light our homes here. I don't light my home. Even when I was in New Jersey, I did not light my home. But it's always very interesting to me that the 15 to 20 mile difference in just like how we live. So
I mean, as far as the outdoor lighting though, for security purposes too, that's like I have on out in my yard, I have a street light that actually we installed, and it lights up the street. Nobody else on the road has it.
Right.
Of course, I have a husband who's an electrician, so he can do these things.
Right.
But I think with security, I like the idea of having lights in the driveway, which I do have another light there, and it does look nice. Yeah. Especially if you do some kind of a fancy light, but anyway, so that's one thing, and apparently it adds value. The next thing on this list is water features.
Okay, what I just said a minute ago about New Jersey, I'm going to say again. Ditto.
That's funny because I have a pond in my backyard, a little koi pond, and I also have a fountain in my front yard, like a little 3-tiered fountain.
Do you have like the little waterfall? Like I always like the little
in the pond.
In the pond, or sometimes they have like large poured concrete features.
No,
right?
I do not have that. But there was a house I recently sold that had the most incredible water feature in the backyard. And it came like across the whole back of the yard. It was like a little riverbed, and it flew down the side into a pond. It was so nice. It really was beautiful. And that house sold for a lot of money. And it partly was because of that water feature. The backyard just looked outstanding.
Right.
Yeah, I need to do more. And I put pavers in last year. I barely think I've hung out on them.
Really?
Yeah.
You need a fire pit there.
I have one. I have a solo stove. I have like all.
And
this
stuff. Why don't you sit there?
I don't know what it is. I think you're right about the areas, how they change, right? Like from Jersey to here. Even when I go out to California, their backyards are like, they're 10-foot backyards, but they're
decked out.
Yeah, they're decked out in that whole 10 feet. And people hang out in them, and they hang out in their garages because there's no space.
It's the weather, right?
Yeah, it's the weather, I guess.
And I'm going to say this, like yesterday we had a really nice day, and I had an hour or two. And like I was running around the house doing all the things, and in my mind I'm saying, why aren't you outside? Like I went out on the deck for a minute or two, and I'm like, well, because the projects out here are so overwhelming that I can't sit on the deck and relax without thinking I need to start one of these, but I don't have enough time to actually do a project.
Yeah, I see.
So I'm going to go back inside and finish the projects.
I'm the same way. I can never sit out on the deck. I guess when you have a smaller yard, there's not as many projects, right? So you can go out there and just relax.
I want to do. I want to paint the fence. I want to put in.
Right. But I'm talking about in New Jersey, they got these 10-foot lots. They're not very big. They can go sit out there because they're done. There's nothing else to do over there. There's no place.
Right, but they do have really nice privacy plants for fencing,
exactly
which is the next thing. Yes,
and that is the next thing. Privacy plants
and
fencing.
it's a little difficult here with privacy plants because you have to plant something that the deer won't eat. Because no matter where you are here, the deer are there.
It's true.
Even in the village, right, Mike? You have deer, don't you?
Yeah.
They just don't. But that could certainly add. The fencing is nice. It could certainly add to your value. Yeah. An outdoor fire pit.
The solo stoves. My sister has one of those as well. Those are like the smokeless stoves, right?
You can put that on a deck too, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves it. And by the way, they do go outside. She has plenty of backyard, by the way, but they do go outside on their patio, and they build a fire and they sit and they relax, have a bottle of wine, and they enjoy it.
Yeah, I have a fire pit. We never go there.
Yeah,
right
now I have so much kindling that I need to go through in our
need a fire pit, right?
I need the fire part of it to happen.
So the next thing is a stone patio.
Yes, which we were just talking about. It all comes together.
It does.
Use it.
And it says that the average cost for a stone patio is between $3,000 and $5,000 to install, with some ranging closer to $20,000, depending on the materials.
I feel like nothing is $3,000 or $5,000.
I was going to say, I don't know what patio is $3,000 or $5,000. I mean, my walkway was $4,500, and that was not a patio. So, and then this, I just passed this, but it's a deck, right? Is that right? It doesn't say it. Oh yeah, wooden deck. Which is another thing I just completed. And
right. I feel like
very costly.
I feel like when you take all of these items in holistically, you end up with what is ultimately another living space, right? It's an outdoor, you're creating an outdoor living space, something that feels comfortable and homey and desirable, and where people want to go out there and find a place to relax, right? And maybe not look around and see 400 projects, but like look around and actually like
Maybe you
see
need the privacy
tranquility.
screening. Yeah, privacy screening the things that haven't been done.
Correct. Extended roof or pergola is the next thing on the
I
list.
love that idea. That's something I do want.
Mike and I bought one of those. I guess I'll call it. I don't want to call it. I don't want to call it a pergola. We bought
Like a cover.
yeah, like
Gazebo.
a gazebo. Thank you for that word. So we bought a gazebo. It's sitting in boxes in our garage.
And you're putting it over the deck?
We're going to put it over the deck, right near the house. The only thing I really have to add to it is a gutter, so water doesn't shoot down at my house. But it's going to be like 12 by 16 feet, and it's going to provide a nice amount of shade.
Are you very sunny back there?
Very, very, very. Like
Yeah.
and we have the Trex deck.
All
It gets
day?
so hard you can't stand out. Yeah, it's our solar exposure is the back of
Oh,
our house.
okay. Yeah, the back of my house by 3:00, complete shade.
Oh, yeah, I don't have that, and so we really need this just to make that space feel more livable.
Yeah. So the next thing is a swimming pool. I mean, it says that it increases the value of your home $32,000, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, and I think it really depends. Like if you
It depends
spend,
on the house,
right? And so if you spend $100,000 on an in-ground pool, maybe you'll get $32,000.
and it's probably going to be close to that.
but you can't
do a gunite pool,
right? But you can't put your $4,000 pool up and think that that's going to give you $32,000 in value.
So irrigation system.
Again, up here, I don't even know that that's something I recommend.
I mean, it depends on like what neighborhood you're in,
Yeah.
right? Don't you think?
I
And
guess.
the value of the
I mean,
house that you're putting in.
if you're in a smaller village lot and you can actually, spray your space, maybe. But when you live, we have a lot of bigger lots out here. Like
Yes.
they just don't make sense.
Right. I mean,
And to drain them and do all the stuff you have to do
The
every
maintenance,
year.
yeah.
if you have a garden, I guess, and you want to irrigate that might be useful to do that.
Right.
If you can't get your hose out to like where my garden is, it's
Right.
pretty far from the house. I don't have an irrigation system. We have lots of hoses attached to it. But the next thing is an outdoor kitchen.
Oh, I like the look of those.
So do I. Do you still have your pizza oven?
I do still have my
Do you
pizza
use
oven.
it? Because that's
It's
something my
work-
daughter wants is a
We are
pizza
coming.
oven.
We are coming into pizza oven season, and we do use it when the time is right. Not only that, I mean, so like what we have, it looks like a chimenea, but it's out of cast iron, and so you build a fire, and then there's a piece of steel that you can cook on, and we put a little pizza stone in there and cook. But the reality is, I can cook almost anything in there. I can do some.
You can make anything, right?
Yeah, I can do vegetables. I could probably do bread in there if I wanted. So it's it is really when we're in when we start to get into that outdoor mode. I do really like the pizza oven.
Yeah, so an outdoor kitchen, really, I think that does, for me, it would definitely add value.
Yeah.
And I think for most people, 'cause
Not only
people
that,
just like that.
did you ever watch Jamie Oliver cook outside?
No, I never did.
Oh, you should watch him cook outside because that will make you want to have an outdoor kitchen immediately. He has, he's got just so many wonderful outdoor recipes, and he's cooking and he's throwing food in his little oven and out of his little oven. It's like, I'm like, oh,
I like
want
Jamie
I want to
Oliver.
cook outside now too.
I didn't even know he was still on. Like,
I'm
what is he
still
on
pegging
Netflix
for
or
this
something?
weather to just get like this much better. But,
I know, so that we can spend some more time and do the barbecuing and all that. We haven't really christened our deck. I haven't even eaten it. It's been done for almost a month now, and haven't been able to eat out there. It's freezing.
Yeah.
So a facade lift, and I think that means if you have siding that needs to be repaired, or trim that needs to be fixed out there,
Yeah.
paint that needs to be done on your front door, or your shutters are kind of hanging off.
Right.
Those things will definitely add value if you fix those items in your home.
There's we're gonna wind this down just a little bit as we finish up talking about things that you can do to, I guess, bring value to your home on the outside of the house. I think some of these suggestions were great today.
Yeah.
I know that it's gotten me back into the get outside and get the place ship shape for for this upcoming summer.
And just quick before, I know we're really breaking it, going fast here, but we are doing a yard sale over at Railroad Avenue. And if you have anything that you'd like to donate, and all the proceeds go to benefit Tara. So that's May 4th, but we need things before that. So if you want to donate anything, bring them on over. Thanks, everybody, and we'll be back next week.
Have a great week.
Bye.